Hey. Hello, hello. Let's see. Sperry cam only. Quack. Did you hear the quack or no? I'm trying so hard to get these freaking things to work. I'm gonna be so sad. Oh, wait. Wait. No. That should be on. That should be on. That should be on. Sorry, I missed yesterday. Hope it was awesome. It was great. But yeah, we didn't down for rock. So we're going to try again on Saturday. So there's still time. There's still time. Thank you for the heart, me. Caleb, are you going to video call on Discord as well? Because I think I'm going to share on my stream so that I can see you and Cal without pulling up two different streams. No problem. Ah, okay, okay. Open mic. No, that's so real. I'm trying so hard to get my little alerts to work, Hendrix. I don't know why my sound alerts aren't working. Ah, it's so sad.
Do this. We'll do this. We'll get a little bit close up.
There we are. Oh, hang on. Ay. We live, baby.
We live. Here, let me put us in here. Well, I'll wait till Cal gets in. How you doing, Sperry?
I'm good. I am so I was like I have like 3 brain cells to rub together and I'm going to have a conversation with 2 very highly regarded colleagues in the field and it's going to be so much fun and I hope that something just comes back like a little brain blast, you know what I mean?
You have been doing a lot of activities lately.
Yeah.
I was in for the Bulls. I was lurking there, so I saw you guys running through it.
It was so much fun. I think it's just like being sick at the beginning of this week. As of course, when you have anything going on, it's like, oh yeah, that's fun. This would be the week that everything is scheduled, and then you get sick. But I think we're on the mend, so I'm excited. It's been a whole year that you've been streaming. How does that feel?
It feels amazing. It feels amazing. 1 second. They're saying that you're sounding robotic. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna knock collab with you. Maybe it sounds better with the audio on through the Twitch.
Okay, maybe.
We request you and allow that.
And then you just want me to keep my mic up.
Yeah, perfect.
Ooh,
Are you getting any echo or anything on?
I was, but I just deafened on Discord, so we're good.
I just deafened on Discord too. Is that better, chat?
Is that better? Test, test.
All right, let me get Cal in here. Here, we can share our beautiful faces.
Beautiful. I'm going to start the shared chat too so that we can just. Oh, I think
Yep.
you have to since you started.
Yep,
Since
I'll
you
start it.
started it.
Let me start sharing chat.
Okay.
And let me invite
Oh,
Cal
hi,
to share.
Raiders. How's it going? I don't know why I can't hear you. Hi, Raiders. Oh, I'm so happy that you're here. This is a great segment to come in. If you guys do play WoW, um, then I'm sorry because we are actually not going to be playing WoW. What we're doing today is we're having a conversation. Oh, I'm so sorry, Caleb. I just realized that you guys can hear everything that I'm saying.
No, no, no. That's totally fine. This is open. Do what you
Okay.
do. I love
I'm
it.
getting
I love
I'm
it.
getting rated. So yeah, but I'm very excited because it is my friend Caleb the Gaming Doc's 20 or 24-hour stream, yeah, his year of streaming. So I'm going to throw a quick shout out as well. We're actually collaborating, so you're able to just hop right over to his, but we are going to be having a conversation with our friend CasualKal just about the psychological and sociological impacts and just considerations of World of Warcraft. And I'm very excited. If you don't know, I'm a therapist. Caleb is a real life doctor, and Cal is currently getting his master's in psych, but he has extensive professional background in mental health. And I'm very excited to just talk with the both of them. So, welcome aboard.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Yeah,
Yeah,
so sorry, I'm just trying to get Cal into the channel here. He'll be in here
perfect.
soon. And I just sent Cal an invite on the Twitch collaboration here.
You said that it's not in sync.
He'll be fine. How's it
So
going, friends?
weird.
Hello.
What is happening?
Oh,
TikTok
Cal.
has a weird delay. It sounds better after I reset it.
Let
Okay,
me
good.
see.
Good.
Let me just unmute real quick.
Let's see.
It's okay. What do
The
we do?
heck?
What do we do here? Let me just unmute.
It's about 2 seconds.
Hey Cal, it's me. So
Hmm.
are you
Let
on
me
Twitch
see.
side right now?
Let me see if I can
Yes. Can
fix.
you see I sent you an invite to collaborate? Accept that if you don't mind. And what that'll do is that'll put you in a voice channel with me and Sperry.
Turn down just a smidge.
Yep. If you go to twitch.tv, and it's fine, you take your time with this. The situation being is that we were sounding a little bit of robotic,
I don't know.
so I just make sure that you're good to go.
I wonder if I use my raw cam, if that would be better. Let's see.
It should be in your inbox. You'll
Nope, it
see
just
the little
disappears.
notification in the inbox,
Sorry, guys. Let's
and it should
see.
say me wanting to
Okay.
collaborate.
Let's look at mics. Where, oh, where?
It's always a pleasure to have you around, Cal. It's okay. Hey, listen, this just like life, we pivot.
Let's see.
But while we get that going,
Okay, what
let
about
me
now?
ask.
Is that okay? Is that better? Chat?
If you need another invite, let me
Yay
know, but
or
I think that
nay?
should be it.
Did that fix it? The setup is giving me flashbacks of sessions. Oh no. Is the audio a little bit better now? Okay, good. And it's not like
So
not
what's gonna
synced.
happen is
Good deal.
we are going to talk about World of Warcraft and how players interact with each other in game. It's
The
going to
heck.
be a segment that's gonna primarily focus on
Okay.
how we
Tools
use the game
settings. My
in ways
alerts.
that might help us and might hinder us at the same time. Ways that we can use the game
Copy.
as a
I'm
coping
gonna
mechanism
try
for
this
things that are happening in life.
for my alerts.
and it's going to be really interesting. There's going to be a lot of things because I don't know about you, but I'll start by saying I have been playing this game since 2006.
Okay, somebody
I have
try
been multiple roles,
one of
different
the
roles
sound
of
things on
multiple
Twitch
people.
so that I can figure out what's going
And
on.
here we go. We're gonna use this here.
Okay.
We sound crisp. We sound good. All right. So yeah, and some of the people that I've met in game have ended up being some of my best friends that I've had the pleasure uh, to coexist on this earth with. So once we get Cal set up,
Aww.
hello. Once we get Cal set up here, we'll go into it. But while we're waiting, Sperry, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody on
Sure, I would
stream here?
love
Yep.
to. Yeah, as I was sharing with some of my raiders that popped into my chat at the perfect timing, my name is Sparey. I mean, not really, but I think we all know that, right? That's not the name I practice under. But I am a licensed master of social work in New York State, and I have been doing private practice clinical work for about 3 years, 4 years. Um, my background before then was in group homes, and so I was working with teens, which was very interesting. Welcome to the squad, Sturm Crow, also. Um, and yeah, so my joy, my passion when it comes to practicing anything with like therapy or mental health or anything like that is how the way that we connect. So my professional niche is conflict and communication. I work a lot with couples, but I'm fascinated with human connection, and I just think it's super important, and I think it's a beautiful thing, and I think that there are a lot of hard conversations that people aren't having, and as we will probably talk a lot about, it's very easy to feel separated, especially in a post-COVID world. So I'm so happy to have met Caleb. Seriously, he is one of my, I would consider my best friends in this arena. And I tell everybody that all of my closest friends are a bunch of strangers on the internet. So yeah, it's just really cool. And I'm very excited. I'm very excited to hear what Cal's going to bring to this conversation as well. But yeah, hi everybody in Caleb's stream. Hi, all of the Sperry squad. I am excited to be here.
Thank you so much, and we're so lucky to have you both here. I'm Cal. Are you? Can you hear me? Okay.
I'm gonna move this. Yeah,
No,
so
no worries. Cal, while you're working
I don't play
on
piano
that, or if not, you can
at
also
church
speak on
anymore. I still
yours
attend
with us
church,
as
but
much as
I'm
you
just
would.
not
Can you give us a little
currently
introduction about you as a person,
playing
how
on
long
like
you've
a
been
worship team or
playing,
anything.
what's your main character, and
Okay, I can turn him
how
up.
you've got into the realm of psychology?
Warcraft for about
There you
20
go.
years. I started back in late '04, right around the time that I joined the military. So I'm a military retiree. I spent 20 years active duty Air Force. I retired last August, actually. So I am approaching my 1 year anniversary of being retired from the military. During that time, I spent 6 years. I was an A-10 engine mechanic, and then I
Not the
retrained
poser
into
Zandalar
mental
troll.
health, where I spent the bulk of my
Okay.
career. And during my 20 years, I did get my degree in aerospace propulsion, but I really liked helping people. So when I went into mental health, I got my degree in mental health services, and then I became a mental health instructor. So I got a teaching degree. And then later on, I got my bachelor's in psychology. I'm currently working on my master's in psychology. But in the military, I was a mental health technician. I was a substance counselor. I was a mental health instructor. I ran my own mental health clinic for the military. Um, Worked with trauma and disaster mental health for all like traumatic incidents. Worked with unaliving and prevention services. I worked with SA prevention services. I'm an emotional intelligence instructor, resiliency coach, And really, I like trying to make somebody's day better, which is actually why I started streaming as
There we
well, was
go.
because there was so much doom scrolling
CasualKal
content
is the person that's
that I
talking
was
right
looking for
now.
something good and wholesome. And eventually I was like, well, you know what? Why am I looking for this content? Why don't I just try and provide it? So here I am, Cal, your attempted antidote of doom scrolling. Because I say it all the time, I don't think there's more negativity in the world. I just think the negativity is louder. And I think the way we get around that is by raising our voices of positivity. And instead of seeing wellness and positivity in a negative way or as a weakness, we celebrate it for the strength that it actually is. So, what's up, everybody? Make sure you're hitting that follow button for all three of us. Show
Mm-hmm.
some love.
Beautiful, Cal. Thank you so much for that. And wow, a plethora of knowledge, background, and experience from you both. And once again, thank you so much. So let's get into the gig. I'll start with the first question here, and it's open to anyone who wants to answer or both answer. So let's talk about group content, right? We're talking raids, we're talking dungeons, we're talking battlegrounds. What do you think WoW teaches people about communication, leadership, or working as a team?
Ladies first.
Okay. I'm very excited because, like I said, I like to talk about collaboration and just like conflict and all that stuff. I think that the art of conflict is one that we don't get to practice very often because we, by nature, are fairly avoidant of it. And you can't learn a new skill without failing. That's a thing, is like anytime you try to be better at something, you're going to be bad at it first. And so I think the art of this like back and forth conflict, throwing our head against the wall, when it comes to progression, battlegrounds, like trying to work as a team in any way. Not only are you practicing basic mechanics, right? So that's like the video game part, that's the hand-eye coordination part, that's like having all parts of your body locked in one thing, but you're also having to communicate quickly, communicate effectively. You're having to either bury your feelings or figure out how to have space for it in your group. You need to know the group dynamics. You need to know who you're playing with. And if you're incompatible, you need to know how to really manage your team. You need to not, and also I think it's important that not everybody is the leader or the like, yeah, not everybody is the leader. So at some point in your gaming career, you're going to have to learn how to play on a team, even if you have natural leadership abilities. So I think it's really cool because there's an opportunity for all sides of the coin here. And I think it's giving us this area where we get to practice having hard conversations on something that we're all actually deeply invested in. Nobody plays games to lose, right? We don't want to continue to wipe over and over and over again. So we all have this shared investment in this goal, and it matters to everybody, but it holds little implication in the outside world, right? Because none of us are raised to world first. So I think that it's just, yeah, I think that that's really cool to keep in mind. It's the lab for communication, the video games are. So I'll leave on that, but I think that that's one of the things. It's a really great space to practice hard conversations and conflict.
Beautiful, beautiful. Do you have anything to chime into that, Cal?
I mean, now I regret letting her go first because, good lord, my gosh. All right. Yeah, no, I mean, I absolutely agree with everything that Sperry says. And I think when anything in a game,
Yeah.
it can be translated over to real world. And the skills that you
Mm-hmm.
develop in a game like WoW, that's especially like so dependent upon engaging with other people. And in the real world, we have people with different personalities, right? Like different personalities, different life experiences. In games like WoW, there are different classes, there are different roles, and those that resonates with the different strengths that people can come to the table. So knowing how to, especially from a leadership role, like if you're leading a raid or if you're leading a guild, it's knowing and recognizing the strengths and integrating them so that the best of every individual comes forward, so that not an individual succeeds, but that the entire team and the group succeeds. And that's an exact same concept that you can translate into high school or college or group projects or a work environment. And so like everything from knowing how to communicate, gaining self-awareness about yourself, learning how you can amplify other people, and just as importantly, how you let other people amplify you. Like those are lessons that are deeply rooted in the game, but they absolutely they transfer over into real world applications.
Fantastic. And just to follow up on both of you, one of my biggest focuses when I was studying college students, um, I asked them this question specifically. I was like, all right, so you guys do so many things. You don't spend 8 hours a week studying your algebra homework, but you'll spend 10, 12, 14 hours in a week looking up logs, looking up builds for classes, looking up all sorts of things to better enhance your characters in World of Warcraft. What is the difference between studying for algebra or physics or chemistry in comparison to just playing a game that is there to just bring you joy? And the big thing I noticed was the intrinsic motivation versus the extrinsic
We're just gonna
motivation.
have a
If you like something, you're gonna spend more time into it. Um, and that's just fact. That's human nature. And it came to be that um, one of the leadership skills that a lot of these students were learning is that they're going after the things that they want in life, and that further strengthens the fortitude and strength of what their mission is in life, and that just makes you a better leader. Because if you know what you want, you know how to get it, it just ends up being a domino effect of cascading improvement and self-development as a student. So
mm-hmm.
that's why I always say for students, if you're in a major or a place of study where you don't have any interest, it doesn't spark joy from you, then you need to get out of it. And I'm not
Yep.
saying it, there's outside context to that, because sometimes family um or close friends or whoever really affects a lot of college students' choices on what to major. Oh, be a nurse, you'll make a lot of money. Oh, be a doctor, you'll make a lot of money. Or be a lawyer. And they get thrown into these situations where they're in school and they're barely passing because they don't like to do what they do. So one of the biggest things was, if you find your life, you find your intrinsic motivation, you're going to be a better leader just in general because you enjoy doing
Oh,
what you're doing. So that's all I have for that. So as far as friendships, have you seen people form genuine friendships or even relationships through World of Warcraft? And what makes these online connections just as real as in-person connections?
Sperry, do you want me to go first this time?
yeah, you got it.
So, like when I was thinking about this question, right? It was like, okay, what is the difference? Like
I wish
the
people
statement or
previously
the
in my
word
life knew
genuine.
instead of just telling me what I needed to do.
Friendship
Oh,
is built on a actual connection.
Yes,
And
yes,
if you are
100%.
engaging with somebody else, you don't have to be right next to them to facilitate a connection.
Mm-hmm.
The connection when people is in our minds and in our hearts, and how we connect with, we resonate with. There's personalities and experiences, and the thing is even if there is a virtual experience, it's still an experience. It's still something you enjoy. So for me, have I seen genuine friendships form? Yes. I formed friendships as a content creator with Caleb and Sperry. I've
Yep.
never met them in real life. I have a friend that I've known in WoW for 10 years. I've never met him. He's still somebody I consider a friend. He is a friend because we share interests. We share, bits and pieces of ourselves. We make ourselves vulnerable with each other. So yeah, like genuine friendships, yeah, it's more than just physical connections. It's a resonation on an emotional, mental, and in some cases even on a spiritual level. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, what they're just as real because the experiences are just as real in the mind.
Yeah, I would agree. And I think that like the biggest thing of being connected to people, like you said, it's not the physical proximity. It's that we are attuning to one another. That attunement process is so important. And I talk all the time in my sessions about how like specifically, I mean, this is more because I work with couples. So I normally talk about like the female need to co-regulate, but this is a human need, with just
Mm.
everybody, that there is such a deep need for human empathy and co-regulation. So it's like we aren't wanting people to solve problems. We aren't wanting people to like do the things for us, do the hard things in life for us. We want somebody to come alongside us and say like, "Oh man, like that's either celebrate the things that we're happy for genuinely, or be there and recognize that it's okay when we have harder days." And that's all it is. Like I was just telling Caleb when we started the stream, like I've been sick this week and I had like dozens of people online that have never met me in person saying, "Oh, Sperry, like I hope that you're feeling better. You know, we're thinking of you. You know, it's been going around. Like, I hope that you're doing well. I hope your family's okay." Like, that's human connection. Nobody could fix my problem. Nobody could make my body heal faster, but they could say, "We're thinking of you and we're with you." And that is like what people need the most. And I don't think that people, when it's intangible and we can't trade in it, it's not a commodity that is like often under sight. You know what I mean? So it's very easy to get lost in what we're able to contribute in the physical and in the natural. And we are really able to get off track of the basic human fundamental needs. And that is, you know, in our minds and in our hearts, like you were talking about, Cal.
Yeah, it's crazy to think. Just this past Friday, I went to Cedar Point to ride a bunch of roller coasters,
Yeah. Same
and the
Welgo.
person that I went to go hang out with is my friend Viz, who I
Yeah.
met through World of Warcraft,
Mm-hmm.
and through that, I have had multiple meetings and hangouts with him and his partner who also plays World of Warcraft, and they're amazing
That's
players and
amazing.
amazing people. And it's just another step. I mean, I remember, I don't know if you both remember this. I might be dating myself a little bit here, but um remember when online dating was a taboo and people were like, "Oh, you're online dating? That's so
Mm-hmm.
weird." Like, uh but now it's so normal for us, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, have you been on Bumble? Have you been on Hinge? Have you
Right.
been on Plenty of Fish? Have you been on this? Have you been on christianfarmers.com? You know what I mean? So it's just, it's crazy to me how the the change in what a real friendship is and constitutes has the definition of it. I remember being a
Yeah.
teen and my grandmother going, "Why are you in your room for so many hours out of the day?" And I'm like, "I'm talking to my friends online," and she didn't understand that concept. And she thought that I was a loner, but when in fact I had a very rich social friendship, albeit parasocial for the time being, but it fulfilled my needs as a human being and as a person, and these are real connections. And I'm sure in the near future, when I see most people who are hanging out right now, like at BlizzCon or whatever, it'll be like, "Hey, let's do something afterward." And so yes, yeah,
What's
absolutely,
poppin'?
truly,
Hey.
genuine
Yeah.
friendships. And I agree with you both that it is absolutely just something that is just another medium to meet people, because we have everything else. We all ended up surviving the Zoom years and everything, and it's been great. And I
Yeah.
hope that I continue to help or harvest and cultivate more of these friendships online. So
For sure. For sure. I have a
go ahead.
question for you, Caleb, just on the sound. I was muted on our shared stream and I'm
Oh,
not
I don't
muted.
hear her.
Okay. I was doing push to talk on Discord, but I just wanted to make sure. Should I stay muted on our shared? I think that's creating an echo if
Is
people
it?
could say that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I heard the echo just for a little bit.
Okay.
Is it
So
okay
now is
now?
it better if I just do
Yes.
that? Say, okay. So we'll leave it that way.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. I just wanted to make sure.
All right.
Twitch is under the same name.
So,
Yes.
yeah, chat
Absolutely,
saying is
Bones.
good. All right, cool.
I'm
As long as you
currently
guys can
streaming
hear.
with CasualKal and Caleb the Gaming Doc,
And
and it's a
chat
great time.
also, like, just to see. Thank you so much for the comments and everything. We'll definitely have a Q&A session, and we'll get back to see what you guys are saying. I just want to get through the questions with these beautiful people right here. And speaking of questions, my next question is guild drama is real.
Why you gotta laugh like that?
That
Why?
was
Why? Why do you gotta
maniacal.
do that?
He was like,
You have
I
to
get triggered.
ooh.
you have to set the tone. From your perspective, how do group roles, ranks, conflicts in a guild reflect real life social or work dynamics? Is there a parallel of a similarity between
Welcome to the
drama
squad, Professor
in the
Bones.
game versus drama in IRL? If there's not, what's the differences?
No,
Okay,
I think there absolutely is. But go
yes.
ahead, Sperry.
I have two thoughts. I think one, absolutely yes. Two, also people who this is another thing, kind of like a reaction formation thing. If you're not familiar with what reaction formation is, it's basically like internally you feel one way, externally you are behaving another way. So if I like really, didn't like something or someone, I would, because I didn't want other people to know that I didn't like this thing, I would go above and beyond and like be like, oh, I really, really like this thing. So I think sometimes we will dislike the way that something or someone is and will go far and above the opposite end of the spectrum. I think another thing that happens is people like me, like I'm a mental health professional. I'm a therapist, so there's a certain way that I have to present. And my biggest thing is authenticity. Like I do believe in being the same person at work as you are like in your free time. But there are just certain things that I take luxuries with when I am playing the game that I don't at work. So there are, for example, like if there is a conflict in, whatever stratosphere is happening, I don't feel like I am the one who has to jump in, because here's the thing. I know that I'm a peacemaker. I know that I love to have, help people learn conflict. But if I am not in my therapist role, and if I am just a member of the guild and there's something going on, I am always going to defer to whoever's in charge, because I am a big believer in chain of command. I am not going to say, oh, excuse me, I actually have a license and a master's degree, so let me just step in because I'm going to be the most effective in this situation. Like, I'm never going to do that. You know what I mean? The leader is the leader because there's a reason they're a leader and I'm not. So I am a firm believer of like, stay in your lane. The thing that makes people effective as therapists is the outline and the boundary of what the confines of the relationship is, right? So like, I'm going to go off on a tangent if I don't bring myself back into this lane. Basically, why I think sometimes it doesn't is because of the roles that people play in life may not always align with the roles they choose to play in game, because they need the balance. If I'm all the way one way in life, I may need to go all the way the other way in game. So I think that sometimes they may, but I think sometimes we gravitate toward the thing that's polar opposite to what we do on the daily.
You need that yin yang balance, right?
Exactly.
Cal, do you have anything to add to that?
Yes, guild drama is real. That's why I very much tend to not be a guild person, just because of bad experiences. And for me, I game to relax, so it's why I stay guildless, not just because after 20 years, there's been a lot of the drama. And a hard truth, there are some people who, maybe because they do not have as much control in their day-to-day life, another ego defense mechanism, displacement. They take the lack of control and authority that they have and they displace it on guild members, and they take the responsibility and authority they have in their guild for granted, which I don't think any leader should do. Like my big stance on leadership is leaders are there to serve their people. Leaders are there to bring the best out in their people.
100%.
And so like with guild drama, this is where, I'm a little, I I agree with Sperry, but I also like if I'm in a guild and somebody's doing something that goes against my morals and stance, I have a hard time staying in my lane. Like I respect, especially, it's funny, chain of command. I was in the military, but even when I was in the military, like the fact that I am not in the position of authority does, for me, I'm still going to say and do something which, I'm not going to overstep, but I'm also not going to let it go. And that's where the drama, kind of came in for me was people took their authority for granted, or they thought that their authority gave them the right to treat people a certain way, and it doesn't. Like the whole point of the guild is to bring together a group of people to meet an objective, and the leadership within the guild, again, like I said earlier, should be about bringing out the best in the individual members so that the entire guild succeeds. So kind of similar to work environments or any kind of hierarchical system.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's so funny because in my experience playing this game, some of the biggest heartbreaks I've had in life has been through guild drama. It affects me so much because I'm such a people person, and I've had the privilege of serving in capacity as an officer, a raiding officer. I was a healing officer lead for many years. I'm mainly a healer. People don't know me as a healer, but I main healed 15 plus years in this game. And the amount of drama that happens when people ask you for, where's my heal? It's like I'm trying to stay professional, but healer chat could get wild because it's like we're like, oh my god, can you believe so and so asked us for a heal when they didn't even hit their defensive? Like, how dare they? So there's always those little sibling spatterings in guilds, and being a part of loot council in World of Warcraft is probably my least favorite job. Absolutely. I hated to be on loot council. I was pretty much forced to be because I was an officer and they needed the votes to give people loot. And for people that aren't familiar with loot council, is you do a raid, and instead of rolling it off like in the system of the game through your dice, you actually have the higher officers give loot to people based on their needs and based on the progression of the guild. So this comes a lot from mythic guild perspectives, because you want to make sure that you're giving that gear to the right classes, to the right specs and whatnot. And one of the biggest guild dramas I ever had was we voted on giving a ring to someone, to a warrior instead of a demon hunter, and the demon hunter just popped off, and I've never seen it before. It was like we sacrificed their firstborn or something. It was really bad. And I hate to bring negativity to certain sects of the population of World of Warcraft, but I've seen this a lot in WoW Classic. As a classic player, I used to play that. Gear's very given loot specs. Loot is serious business in WoW Classic, and only because it's harder to get loot in Classic than it is in retail, so it's a lot more important. And in my experience, it's just has always led to drama. It started guild breakups in my WoW Classic guild, and it started a guild breakup in the retail guild, and this was during Legion, and we had just finished getting cutting edge on Emerald Nightmare, so we're just coming into Nighthold thinking, we're good, we have a great squad here, everyone enjoys each other's company, and it just took one night of loot drama, and ended up being a big thing where a lot of personal attacks were going off. And I was balled up in the I forgot that movie where they take a shower and he's all balled up in the corner. That was me for like a week. I don't know why it affected me so much. So
well, it was your nervous system. Your nervous system clocked it, and it was like, oh. I have actually just one thing to add on the guild drama before we move on, because I know we're trying to hit a lot of questions, but the way that I see things is like, you can either, if you don't like the way that something within a system is working, you have just a few options and that's it. So you can either put concerted effort into changing the system, you can try to figure out how to survive in the system as is, or you can leave the system. And so for me, I'm like, if I don't like how these things are, but I have no discernible authority over the way they're run, I have to take stock in how much energy I'm willing to put into this to fix it for other people. Or if I'm going to say, you know what, there's probably another guild, another culture, another room that is going to align more with who I am and what I stand for and what I believe in. And that's ultimately the guild drama that I've had. I'm very new to the game and to the guild and like guild culture. And so like I had one where they randomly recruited me. It was like a mass invitation type guild. Played with them for a little while, and then there was a split, and it wasn't a pretty split. And I told the people who split off, who I really loved, I really did agree with them, but I didn't agree with how it went about. And so I had to take some time, and I told them, because I miss conflict and I'm not going to be avoidant, I said, hey, here are the things that I appreciate that you did. Here are the things that I don't appreciate that you did and that I would have done differently. I'm going to take some time, and then I'm going to figure out where I'm going to be. And ultimately I ended up with them, and now I'm with another guild because of the type of content that we push. And they're chill. I love the guild that I'm in now. They're incredible. But yeah, I think about those three options. You can stay and you can try to change it. You can stay and you can try to just let it be and accept it, or you can just GTFO, brother. Save your peace.
I'm looking at I'm gonna jump around questions if that's okay with you both, because I do wanna
Guild HR
first respect
person.
your time.
Yes.
We have an hour.
Yeah.
But some of these questions I really want to ask you guys. So some players, you might say, might idolize guild leaders or guild higher ranks or even streamers. These are these parasocial relationships that build because you kind of bare your soul to the audience a lot, and a lot of people resonate with that. Are there risks to that, or is this sort of a healthy outlet? What do you think for players that do kind of like put players and streamers and guild leaders on a pedestal and idolize them, and it ends up, I don't know, it could go both. I don't know what your experience has been with that.
Don't do it. No, for real. Like, here's the reality. Like, we're all human. We all have good aspects to our personality. We all have good attributes, and we all have imperfections. And I'm not a believer that anybody should be put on a pedestal.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody, like, myself, when I stream, and I know it's similar for you too, like, we're trying to make somebody's day better and bring positivity into the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can be a douchebag like anybody else. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I can have a bad day like anybody else. There is no person, whether they have 10 followers or 10 million followers, I think it's dangerous to idolize people. Like, you can appreciate and respect attributes that they bring to the table, or that they show through their gameplay skill, or or they show through their personality while streaming. But no, like, idolizing is very dangerous, and putting them on a pedestal, because that can lead to us ignoring or justifying or rationalizing aspects that really shouldn't be justified or rationalized. Like, it's okay to respect them. It's okay to appreciate their presence and like them as an individual, or to respect their skill. But I think idolizing is dangerous. I think you can idolize their gameplay and respect the time they've put into it, but them as an individual, no, I'm very, very hesitant of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when it comes to like the idolization stuff, it's so important to recognize the humanity of every single person out here. And I think like some of the relationships that streamers have with their communities go beyond parasocial, because like if you think about, like, if you don't know what parasocial relationships are, it's like the one-sided relationships where it's like if there's somebody who becomes like obsessed or emotionally invested in somebody that they have never met and don't have a relationship with. But like we were talking about earlier, like true relationships can actually happen. Like I know like almost everybody in my Discord, I wouldn't say that I have a deep invested relationship with all of them, but part of my whole shtick since becoming a streamer is like, I want people, if they're having a hard day, and they don't know where to turn to. I mean, if I'm being completely candid, my biggest thing is like, I don't want anybody to leave this world because they didn't know who to call. You know, I really, really don't want that. I have a huge heart for just being aware of people's intolerance of their own lives. And I try to keep myself accessible to everybody in the Discord for that reason, because if somebody's in a mental health crisis, I would much rather them actually be able to have somewhat of a that goes beyond parasocial, you know, like that is actually a defined relationship with expectations of, you are not going to blow my DMs up, you are not going to have my cell phone number, I am not going to be your therapist, I am not going to be somebody that is in your life, but the expectation is, if you need somebody and you can't trust anybody in your life and you're spiraling and you don't know what to do, there is this stranger on the internet that talks about mental health that has some scope of specialized knowledge, and here is the Discord, and here is what you can say, and here's where you can go. And to me, if somebody is lurking and they are imagining that they have more of a relationship with me than they do, that's parasocial. That's dangerous. That's concerning. But if they are within the confines of the relationship that both of us, the both parties of that relationship have agreed upon, that is true relationship. So I think that if it becomes something where it's like, ooh, I'm now playing by rules that we didn't both agree to, that's parasocial. And that, like Cal said, is very concerning. And you want to make sure that you're not getting into that realm. And yeah, but I think I'll leave it at that.
Can I add one last thing to that?
Mm-hmm.
Based off what SPAREY said? Because the reality isn't, for anybody out there, if you do idolize these people who you could say as a content creator or as a guild player or a game player or whatever, when you idolize those people, you may not be 100% sure of their intentions, and you could open yourself up to being taken advantage of and manipulated.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's like, you might think you know somebody, but you also may not. So it's, again, just, you know, you can respect the gameplay, you can respect their skill, but be careful with the idolization.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'll go on record here and say that I don't idolize anyone. So you got to think there's a difference between idolizing and like having an attraction towards someone. Like, I love Shakib from Liquid. I think he's awesome. He's a great player, right? He's the whole package. I'll give you an example. I'm not in his DMs blowing him up, be like, "Hey, what's up? What's going on?" Right? I'm appreciating him from afar, and I think that's sort of like a way to, because there's players, right? Everyone loves the Race to World first players, Max and Zaryu and Peekaboo and all these like big names, right? Just knowing that you have an outlet to talk to friends about like your like for these people, right? We talk about the Great Push and MDI, and we're like, oh my god, our favorite players are on. You know, did you see Yoda or Andy Bruce tank that mob here, there, and the third? So as long as you're keeping it kosher, you know, I think that's good. But if you do wake up in a sense that you have to find yourself interjecting yourself in someone's personal life like that, that's when you kind of want to maybe start to seek some assistance in some way. So
the only person you should idolize is your future self when you think about what you're capable of. Like, not to be overly cheesy or anything, but like idolize yourself and the person you can become in the future, and the person you're striving to become. Idolize that person. Don't put other people on that pedestal. Put yourself on that pedestal and work towards being the best version of yourself.
I don't have an idol in WoW. I don't know enough people
Can
to
I idolize you
anybody in WoW.
both? You guys are just so...
Right.
All right. Oh my god.
I'll take my idol in silver, thank you.
Okay. All right. So I want to ask this.
Meanwhile,
right? Some
I'm
players are really connected to their characters, or even a certain NPC in the game, right? We all know Xalatath, right? Oh my God, feet, right?
Right.
What's going on psychologically when someone feels that deep attachment to their avatar or a character in lore in the game? What's making, well,
Hmm.
in your opinion, what's making them so attached?
Cal, do you want to take it?
I could. I didn't want to step on your toes, and I don't want to over gab. So I don't mind if that's okay with you.
Yeah, go for it.
So I love this question. Like when I kind of got a heads up, or when we got the heads up of the questions, this is actually probably one of my favorites. I think like with our
Mommy
avatars,
Sylvie.
I think for a lot of people, there are aspects to who they are, how they see themselves, and like their avatar
Yeah.
could either be a more fun manifestation of how they see themselves. It might be a manifestation of how they think other people view them, or it could be a manifestation of how they wish people saw them. And so like there's a reason we play the things that we play. So like when I thought about this, my favorite class is Warlock. Like Warlock has been my main since 2004. And I spent 20 years in the military, so everything was structured, everything was regimented, everything, dress and appearance, and all of this stuff. And my favorite class is Warlock, which is arguably the most chaotic class, or the most chaotic lined of any of the classes in the game. That's debatable, but to me it is. So like I look at it as
My main is
I
Warlock,
got
and so
to
forth.
have an outlet from all of the structure and discipline. And you could have somebody
I
that
just started one.
maybe they are the kindest, nicest person in the world, and they want to be a tank where they want to actually be the one leading the charge. Or maybe you have somebody that they're expected to be the big,
Hi,
tough,
Shell.
unbeatable person,
Good to see
and they
you.
want to break from that, and so they instead
Cal's
play a
talking right
healer. Now, as far as the connection with characters, like in any story, characters are always symbolic. So like anybody that knows me, I am an Illidan fanboy through and through. And it's because of what Illidan represents. He was an individual who turned away from his people, was banished by his people. His own family turned away from him. The woman he loved turned away from him. And he literally became a demon so
good
that
stuff,
he could
man.
stop the bigger threat. Like he was willing to become an anti-hero, a villain for a long time, because he knew it was the only way to protect his people. And he was willing to sacrifice
Thank you.
everything to protect what mattered the most to him. And it didn't matter what anybody thought about him. He was going to do what he knew needed to be done that nobody else was willing to do. And so I think like any character in any show or any book or any movie, we see those attributes and we resonate with those because it resonates with something we either see in ourselves or something that we want to aspire to in our lives.
The two goats. Yeah, I think that's I actually saw a post today that related to this question in a Facebook group that I'm in. And I think sometimes fictional characters can be or like NPCs or our avatars or whatever can sometimes be a replacement for people that we're grieving as well, and or people that are still alive and we're grieving. Like sometimes I know that some people have made like the Tav families in BG3 where they'll create people that look similar to them to facilitate a family that they never had a chance to have. And I think that that's what a lot of like the imaginative play is when you do like therapy with kids and things like that. So I just saw this really beautiful story. I was like, this is so sweet. This is why I love the WoW community, of a woman who is in a Facebook group with me, and she had lost her mom. And she found an NPC randomly of somebody with her mom's they called her mom JJ, and then it was like their last name. So she's like, oh my gosh, Mom, is that you? And she was just like, it's just a beautiful thing. Facebook vets, don't roast me, don't cut up on me. we're all in the mature category in life. That's why we have so much wisdom.
Don't you put that evil on me.
Don't you put that evil on me. But no, I just think that it is a beautiful thing. And that, Two, I mean, everything in moderation. You want to make sure that you aren't fully losing yourself to the imagination. So you want to stay tethered. I'm big on tether points. Stay tethered to the life that you're living now. As much time as you're investing in your life in Azeroth, take time to like foster and build a life that you really love in this life. But I think that for some people, it is a way to cope with things that we can't have anymore. And, you know, I do this with people that are grieving in my office. You know, I say if you've lost somebody, sometimes it's less about losing them and more about losing the opportunity to say things you didn't realize you wouldn't have the chance to say again. So maybe we need to do some ghost texting. Maybe we need to do, which is just like writing things down in your notes app. Maybe we need to do some letter writing. Maybe we need to say the things that we wish that we had a chance to say to them, because it's not about them receiving. It's about us giving. It's about us releasing that message. And sometimes in, you know, video games, it's the same mechanism in a different vehicle. It's just being able to complete the cycle. It's being able to release what it is that you need in that part of the relationship now that that person's not here. Maybe the version of that with our avatars is the version of us that we wish we had here. I think that it's very important, your relationship with self, to be able to understand what you value in yourself now and what Cal was talking about, what you believe you're going to have in the future. Maybe you're creating the goal mark. Maybe you are vision boarding through video games. Maybe you are designing the ideal version of you that you really believe in and that you really want to commune with.
You both have blown me away with your answers. I'll just quickly add, when I first
Thank you
started
for
playing
the follow,
MMORPGs,
Control
I played
Alt Quinn.
EverQuest. Yes, we know EverQuest is older
Much
than some people in
appreciated.
chat.
Thank you.
I played EverQuest and I picked a cleric because
Hello,
a cleric
hello.
was described as someone that was mostly and highly requested in groups. You would always have a group if you played a cleric. And me being a nurturer and a social person, I wanted that. So I fell into the role of a healer for the simple fact that it was going to allow me to open up new
Hi,
opportunities to
Static.
meet new people in groups.
We're yapping about
And
Psych
that
and
has carried
Soch
over
and how
in a lot of things. And that was
that
my
applies
main
to
reason
WoW.
why I chose a healer. And I went into World of Warcraft and I was priest and holy paladin for 15 years. And I continued to do that. Yes, I fit the stereotype of being a support player. Yes, I'm a support player, and that's just how I am. So that's just my take on that question. All right, we have time for like one more question. This has gone by so fast. We need some more time for this.
Yeah, Yapper's gonna yap. That's for sure.
I forgot that all
I'm
three of us
sorry!
can literally take the air out of the what was the Zeppelin that was famous? The Lindenberger?
The Hindenburg?
The Hindenburg. We can suck the air out the Hindenburg. I'm telling you, fam.
Have you eaten recently? Or we're talking about Lindenberger?
You said the Lindenberger.
Bro, I'm cooked. I'm so cooked. All right. Let's end it
Thanks
with
for
this.
the tippy tap, Static. Lindenberger is close enough.
What tips would you give players to help balance
Hamburger
WoW
Zeppelin.
and the rest of their lives, especially when the game becomes part of a big social part of their world?
That 24-hour stream brain.
Sperry, by all means.
Yeah, this one is one that I struggle with because I saw this on the thing, and I think that this is something that I'm still trying to figure out. And I think that balance is never like a finite, like we've never gotten there, right? Because that's the beautiful act of what a balancing thing is, you know? I see it as like the sound wave. One of my clients is actually in chat. He's going to know exactly where I'm going with this. But progress is not, you know, we know it's not linear, but it's also not like the steps as many people see. It's like there's one singular line and that's perfection. And we are constantly the wave that is going above and beyond the line of perfection. And every day we're course correcting. So I think sometimes, we're going to be really, really good. We're going to be really on it. But as we have all said before, we're human. We are fallible. We're going to make mistakes. So I think when it comes to balance, it's constantly doing a self inventory, recognizing like, okay, if I look at myself as this person that has multiple needs, multiple interests, multiple investments, what is it, how is everything doing, just take stock of what's going on. Sometimes I can tell that I need to take a break because I will I have ADHD, and I also will get like, I have that perseveration brain, so I'll just get fixated and just get stuck in something. So if I know that I am in my sessions and all I can think about is WoW, and I'm like not able to focus on my clients, ooh, that's a problem, because my fundamental belief is that I am there to be invested in helping people organize their lives, helping people see themselves really. So like I need to be able to lock in every scenario. When it comes to finding a balance, also don't look to what other people do to balance, because it's going to be different for every person. What Caleb does for his life and what Cal does for his life is going to be very different from what I do in my life. And that's not just because we're in different stages of life or we have different responsibilities. It's because we're just different people. You can't look at somebody like Caleb, who is an absolute degen and gets 4 hours of sleep a night, and be like, all I need to do is get 4 hours of sleep a night, I'm good, Caleb does it. No, don't be that person. Don't be that person, because I promise you, you cannot measure your life or model your life over somebody else's meter stick, because it's not going to work. They may have skills and tools and things that you just aren't working with, and that's okay. So short answer, TLDR, constantly evaluate and course correct, and don't beat yourself up if you get it off a little bit. It's fine.
That is really hard to follow, because I agree with it a million percent. Gaining that awareness, and there are going to be days where, like Sperry said, you're going to miss the mark, and just be gracious to yourself and be nice to yourself. Remember, you're not perfect, but also remember to reward yourself. Like, it's okay to take a break and indulge a little bit. The biggest thing for me is like that sense of self-awareness. And for me, and I don't know if this would work for everybody, but for me, I like reverse engineering self-awareness, and that's going to lead into reflecting. I'm not a fan of dwelling. I'm a fan of reflecting. And the difference is dwelling is only looking at the bad, and reflecting is looking at the, what didn't go well, but also what didn't, being fair to yourself. So the tips that I have for players, when it becomes a part of your social world, is gain the awareness of your habits and set boundaries for yourself. Don't be afraid to set boundaries with other people. And we talk a lot, when we talk about boundaries, of having boundaries for other individuals, but we don't talk a lot about having boundaries for ourselves. And the thing is, with something like WoW or any hobby or interest, is if you are not able to maintain the boundary, that is a clear sign that you need the boundary.
Yeah.
And maybe you go past the boundary a little bit here or there every once in a while, but when it becomes a routine thing and you're not able to uphold the boundaries, and other responsibilities in your life are falling behind, or you're struggling to balance it, that is a clear sign that you need to do it. And so that would just be my biggest tip for folks, is just know how to balance it. The same as I would say for anybody at work, letting anything go too far and infringe on a total gestaltish balance within your world is not a good thing. And that goes for obligations as well as for, fun.
Yeah. I'm so bad at this, because my enjoyment of playing the game has also turned into work for me. Right? Whereas I played this game primarily to just enjoy myself, it now has become a big part of an identity that I have put forth on the internet, right? I don't even have like a personal TikTok account. It's just my TikTok is all about World of Warcraft, So my balance has been trying to make more definitive lines in the sand, in terms of who I am versus who I am as Caleb, the content creator and streamer. So I still struggle with this. I've always been a vampire night owl person. I just work best. My brain works best at night.
Mhm.
Um, you guys ever like are sitting in bed at 2, 3 a.m. in the morning and you just think of the most embarrassing thing you've ever done in life and you're like, why did I do that? Or why did I say that? Those are like those aha moments,
That's
right?
that
And
witching
that's
hour, brother.
it's literally, and that's how just I am. And me being a Virgo, I always have to overanalyze
Yep.
everything. I'm like, God damn it, maybe I should have did it better this way or that way.
Oh,
So
yes.
I've always had the balance of
Yep.
trying not to be perfect, but also trying to maintain what I love to do in a um non-working way, just an
Mm.
enjoyment. And sometimes, and I've learned to do that, I'll stream, but I'll play off stream, and that has kind of been kind of like my safe haven. And I'll go off in like incognito mode, and that's helped me a lot. So if you're having a situation you feel like this is for those that stream and make content, you're burning out, just go incognito, just do your thing. Sperry, I love that the one day you were sick, you had your camera off, you were muted, you just
Mhm.
had the thing on, and you just did what you did. I think that's a beautiful way of
Yeah.
keeping the love of the game, but also taking care of yourself at the same time.
Yeah, I missed everybody so much. I just
Mhm.
missed it. That's part of the thing is I just missed my friends. I wanted to play. I wanted to connect again. Like I said, I couldn't talk, but I was like, there are people that are going to come and cheer me up and make me feel better. And I want to see how they're doing. I'm interested in their lives and I want to hang out. And so, yeah, it's just really cool.
You people are awake at 2 o'clock in the morning?
Cal
What's
goes to
wrong
bed
with
at
you
like
kids?
9 Eastern.
2 o'clock
Cal's
in the
in bed.
morning? This is ridiculous. Turn the damn computer off.
You kids and your computer.
You damn
Um,
kids in your MTV.
Listen, it's a couple minutes past 3. I want to respect both of your time. I want to
I'm
thank you
good,
so
dude.
much.
Just for the record.
Yeah,
You're
I was
good?
gonna
Oh,
say
oh,
I want to keep to your schedule and whatever you do, but just so you know, Mr. Sperry's playing disc golf with his homie, and Baby Sperry is at the grandparents, so I'm chilling.
okay. I mean, we can hit a couple more questions and then we can move on if that's okay with you.
I didn't know if you had a Q&A section you wanted to do. Like,
Well, yeah, I want to definitely get
this
into
is your show,
Q&A.
dude.
If anyone has any questions that they want to ask this illustrious panel,
Illustrious
please.
panel.
Illustrious. Why?
Disc golf. Ooh la la.
That's how I talk at work. Cause
You can't be using compliments of words that I can't spell.
you have to when you have to suck up to like the big vice presidents and assistant deans and AVPs and all that. You have to be very flourishy with your wording. But if you have any questions, please put them in chat. While we're waiting for chat to come up with some questions, I do have a question for you. This is interesting, and I think we touched upon it a little bit. Do you think playing as a different race, class, gender lets you explore parts of your identity that you might not feel safe doing otherwise in game?
Yes. It's make believe, right? And we start doing this when we're kids, and then it just continues to spiral out. And I think that again, it's like the same as like if I were to go somewhere under the guise of somebody that I am not, like the if I go in a costume or if I go in a disguise or something like that, like that's letting me get into that character. If I am playing a part in a play, that allows me to get into that part of the character. And I think that it's just really cool in game. Like it's such a silly thing. Like when we did our Herald of the Titans run, Mr. Sperry made a female character and I made a male character, and I was just like, oh, like this, like I liked having fun with that, and I was like, oh, like I'm gonna, like, let me pick you up, girl. Like let me spit some game to you, shorty. So it's just like not in that I've experienced my own, worldview and my own just like history. I haven't used it as that opportunity to truly like go in and explore different parts of myself. But I think that the ingredients are there. You know, like people can, especially if you go into like deep role playing. Like if you have somebody who is like a full time role player, they're like locked in every tune on Moonguard. They bunker down and they are there for the role play and that's it. That's when you really, I think about like the Secret Life of Ibelin. If you had ever watched that, if you haven't, I highly recommend it. It's on Netflix. But he wasn't able-bodied, and he was able to play somebody who was able-bodied, and like that was a beautiful thing. And the relationships that he was able to have because of this world that Blizzard created for us, I think it's incredible, and I think that there are so many different facets to what that can look like.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And I mean, I think I alluded to this earlier. You might have somebody that in their personal life, or maybe they haven't developed the self confidence yet to take charge. And when they play WoW, they play a warrior because they're the first ones charging in. And they actually, you can gain that self confidence through simulation, because the mindset of doing it and leading, or any aspect of it, like I said, I think some people create the avatar and they play the classes they do either because of how they see themselves or because of how they want other people to see them. And I think I mentioned that earlier. So yeah, I absolutely think people can play classes, or male, female, or they can play whatever as a means of self-expression, and they're doing it in an environment where it's not only acceptable but it's celebrated. And I think that can end up translating to them gaining the confidence in themselves to bringing that into their real, the real world, real life scenarios.
Yeah. I'll just add real quick. I just noticed that all my main characters are female characters.
Girly pops.
Right? Girly pops. And
we listen and we don't judge.
I'm he him pronouns, right? I'm a guy, and it's, I don't know, I think that stems from my growing up. My grandmother was my hero. So I was like, yo, this woman is so strong, and I've always saw women as these strong pillars that held families together. I just naturally tend to gravitate towards having female characters. We have a lot of great questions in chat. I want to make sure we get to it. I'll answer the first one, Kliss, and we'll chime in and we'll try to get people in. But I have like 5 or 6 questions now. Kliss asks, how do you best handle someone that is not as good as the raid personally? I'll start real quick. Okay, so the biggest thing for me is to lay down expectations in the beginning of raiding and in the guild and a raid environment. If the expectations are laid out as clear as day, you're expected to log in at this time, and this time. You're expected to do Mythic Plus to get gear for this. You're expected to learn the fights, watch videos. You're expected to do all of this. If you have those expectations out right away, then when something happens where a person or player is not performing to their best level at the raid, then you can have a civil conversation with them, and it doesn't come from a place of attacking or a harsh critique. It comes from a place of, okay, well, Johnny, everyone was given the expectations in the beginning. Here's things that we can help improve. And then whatever the situation is, are they having issues with output for DPS or healing? Then how can we improve that? Are we having issues with them always dying to fires on the floor? How can we fix that mechanically, right? So you give them useful information to then kind of synthesize and mull over in their brain, and then you come back. And then if the issue still isn't corrected, then I say you have the green light to be like, okay, then at this point, we just might have to sit you until you get to that point. And at that point, you've given that person 2 instances of reasoning why they're being put to the side. Never call anyone out in front of the whole raid. That's terrible. It
Yeah.
depends on the relationship you have, right? Like my guild, my raid leader, he's notoriously infamous actually
Bottom
because of a few
energy.
TikToks. Yes, he's like big bottom energy, right? He'll call us out, but that's the relationship and or personalities that we have, and
Yeah.
like I'm from Brooklyn, things like that don't affect me. It's like,
Mm-mm.
oh yeah, whatever, we roast each other. If we weren't roasting each other at the lunch table, every day at high school, then you
Mm-hmm.
weren't friends with people.
Yeah.
But that's just me. Not everyone operates like that. So
Mm-hmm.
do it privately. We do have channels where we have private channels where our members will get uh information from officers, and you'll have a Discord, your own thread of ways to improve. And it's been utilized a bunch. So I would just say have those protocols in place, so then when you do have it, you say, hey, well, this is based off of A, B, and C. It's not, they can't assume that's just based off of, oh well, they don't like me, or well,
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing great. And have your receipts. I always say save your receipts for everything in life. Save your receipts, because when people come for you, just bring the receipts out. Zoop, there you go. So that's
100%.
my answer to that. And anybody else want to chime in with that?
Yeah, my sole like foundation is you cannot hold people accountable to a standard of which they are unfamiliar. I have said this time and time and time again. If you are trying to hold somebody accountable and you never laid out the expectation, you're at fault. You're the one that needs to readjust, and you need to primarily lay out the expectations clear as day, over explain, because if I got really upset if I ever was asked to do something. Like, I actually sent my job description when I first started in the administrative position that I was in before I quit so that I could just contract and stream. I sent my job description back quite a few times because they had that pesky little like under the responsibilities that I was going to have otherwise as instructed by manager. And I said, that's not clear. That leaves me up to do whatever you want me to do. So I said, I don't want that on there. I don't want that on my job description. Like, I am a stickler for job descriptions. I am a stickler for hiring contracts. I'm a stickler for the terms and conditions, because if I don't know what I'm agreeing to, I don't know what the standard is. That leaves me in a precarious situation because I have no idea what you want from me, which my anxiety is going to go through the roof. And that leaves you in an awkward position too as my leader, because then if I mess up, again, you have nothing to fall on. And it's like, well, how can I be sure that this isn't a personal attack? How can I be sure that this isn't because so-and-so and, this, that, and the other, they said that they didn't like me, or because, this is retaliation because I said this. You just lay it out clear as day, and then you fall back on, hey, let's return to the expectations that we laid out, and let's talk about these. It's the same as like any review, anything like that. That's why those things are in place. But yeah, I don't need to add more to that because you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Just make the expectations clear.
I agree. Make the expectations clear. And I would also say, like, if you're a raid leader or, something of that nature, to answer the original question, is understand that not everybody has the same play skill or style, or there's just things that they might not be good at for one reason or another. And if you're leading a raid team or anything in life, and the same thing with a leader, understand the capabilities and also the limitations. That is a crucial skill for any effective leader. You cannot hold everybody to your standard of what you can do as the leader, and you also shouldn't be comparing people within the team to each other, because everybody is different. They have different experiences, different strengths, different limitations, and a good leader is able to recognize those. A great leader will find a way to integrate them, and use the strength of one team member to complement and to help overcome the limitations within another. But if we get into this elitist of like, you're either perfect or you're trash, then you're actually hampering people from wanting to try and get better. So I would say, if you've got somebody in a raid that's not up to snuff, ascertain why. It's the same thing like in a work environment. If you have one person that's cranking out 10 tasks a day and they're your gold child, and you've got one person that's only cranking out 4, maybe stop and ask why that person is only cranking out 4. If you know that they should be able to do more, or you feel like they should, talk to them, ask them, provide the environment, and have the conversation facilitated with genuine care, compassion, empathy, and humility, because you're not perfect either. And you're not the best ever. And even if you were, you should still be humble, because there's always room to grow. But it's just, rather than see and put too much stake on what somebody can't do, put just as much emphasis and importance on what they can, because it's what they can currently do, which is what is built upon to make them better.
All
Yeah,
right.
very
Wonderful.
good.
All right, so we're gonna speed round this. So we're gonna do short form answers only, because we have like
Oh,
6 or
God.
7 questions. All right.
Gotcha.
Next question is: would you want World of Warcraft to have a realm reborn in a sense of a Thanos snap of everything? Okay, for those of you that are not familiar, Final Fantasy 14 had a remake because the first iteration 1.0 was really bad, so they redid everything pretty much, and they relaunched the MMO. Would you want World of Warcraft to be relaunched? They feel like collecting everything's coming to an end, or what would you want Blizzard to do in the future? We can stay on this question for the whole segment, but quickly for me, I think there is going to be a point in time when we get to the end of the trilogy that it's going to have an opportunity to kind of splinter off, and you're either going to have a new WoW 2.0 after the trilogy's over, or you're going to have another sort of timeline, Marvel timeline. So that's what I think personally. That's all I have to say about that.
Mine's short because I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm here. I'm along for the ride, and that's that.
Beautiful.
Yes, because that will introduce new blood and will encourage new players to come in, and it will also revitalize the game for veterans. Yes, we need a WoW 2.0. Yes, we need a severe breakaway. There you go.
Feels bad.
Beautiful. All right, next question. Are we responsible to fix pugs who are negative and hateful? As in, where is our responsibility for the community to react to harmful behaviors? My short answer is yes. I always defend people, especially Mythic Plus. Yes, you should have a base knowledge of what you're going into, but people are humans. They make mistakes. They have bad days. So if there's someone being negative in the group, I will, in my most respectful way, say, well, that's not cool. Chill, we're good. Because also I want to finish the key, because 90% of the time, if you do retaliate, the tank leaves or the healer leaves, and then you have no key. So that's my short answer.
Yeah, I think the social responsibility is like how much can you impact this person, right? I'm always evaluating if people are in their lizard brain or not, because if they're in their lizard brain, you can't talk to them anyway. So like if I see somebody who is incessantly going off and they're just like spamming the chat and being ridiculous, I'm going to vote to kick them, because there's not a conversation that you can have with them. They're the equivalent of an angry toddler at that point in their brain. So yeah, my short answer is if there's a possibility of taking responsibility for them, yes. Although you're only responsible to deliver the package. You don't have to make them pick it up and take it inside.
I'm not responsible for changing somebody else, nor am I'm not going to put myself and say somebody needs to change because of me. But if you're a toxic player,
Right.
I'm not going to reward your toxicity and reinforce it and let you use leverage like, oh, well, we got to keep this really toxic person. Otherwise, I will gut the key before I will let a toxic player mistreat myself or other people. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to reward the behavior. You want to be that kind of person? Go away. Because if we're going to be running multiple keys, if you can bring it up like, hey, tone it down, cool back, but if they're not, and if they're like, I'm the tank, and they think that whatever they bring to the table gives them the right to mistreat myself or somebody else, they can kick rocks.
Right.
I will happily bust a key, because you know what? There's 18 million people out there with a key that are willing to go. So I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna change your behavior. I'm gonna let the consequences of your behavior speak for itself, and you're either gonna reflect upon that and gain better control and maturity of yourself, or you're gonna continue on. But I'm not gonna let one person toxic the entire group and drag down everybody, because that will ultimately impact everybody's performance. It'll impact whether everybody has a good time or not. And I don't care. I will absolutely gut the key. I don't care if we're on the last boss. I'll gut the key and kick your ass and we'll start over, because that sends a message to everybody in the team that that's not okay.
Here,
Yeah,
here.
100%.
All right. How do you feel about how WoW writes women? There are a few interactions between female characters that aren't catfights.
I have a very short answer to this one too. As somebody who skips every cutscene and knows zero lore other than what I've learned from Cal's videos, I can't even comment on it.
Damn.
Yeah. So I'm going to. It's so funny because I'm the only woman in this conversation. However, I don't have anything to comment because I don't pay attention to that. I'm like on going down my little laundry list of tasks. So I will leave it up to you guys.
Fair. So I'll just go ahead and say real quick. I think it's hit and miss with a lot of characters. I think Farron is a character that they started to see. Jaina's whole journey is kind of
My only
beautiful. I
comment.
mean, she first started as like an Arthas simp, but at the same time, she's like one of the most powerful mages in the Warcraft universe, right? It also depends. Unfortunately, the storyline between characters and women have changed because you had Richard Knack making the World of Warcraft books, writing them in the beginning. Eventually, they get to Christy Golden. I don't know if you know Richard Knack's more of like a D&D type-ish writer, and Christy Golden, Lord of the Clans was, I guess, his first one. It was about the orcs in Draenor, and it was very heartfelt, beautiful. You talked about like friendship and bonding. So it depends, hit or miss, depends on who Blizzard hires. You had this guy who was Nathanos Blightcaller's. He was like vicariously lived his life through Nathanos Blightcaller. If you know who he is, he was Sylvanas' right hand man in the fight. So how do they write women? They can do better. I think we all could do better in all aspects, but I think they're trying. And if you look at the voices that are at the table now during production in Blizzard and in WoW in general, you see that there are a lot of different sorts of people coming in with their own experiences, and it's not going to appease everybody. People are purists with that. They're like, oh, I only want to do this D&D style, or I want to do that. But I think it'll get better. That's a short answer. Hopefully I'll short.
I will give the shortest answer I can, and I can only speak from the heart. Like, I'm not going to placate. I think that as old as WoW is, the earlier storytelling, and in some cases, even recent storytelling, is representative of the systemic and societal issues and expectations that have been unfairly placed on women. And I think that over time and as it continues, I think we're going to see that shift in how female characters are represented, rightfully so. And I honestly just think it's been an evolution, and I think it's important to remember where it came from and to recognize the changes that are occurring and appreciate the good ones so that they continue on, so we don't revert back. But I really think the crux of it is women have not always been, or female characters in general, women have not always been fairly represented or heroically represented, and we are starting to see that, and we just need to keep pushing for that change so that there is a justice and an eloquence in what, just like in real life, of what women bring to the table, and not just men are heroes, but no, like women are badasses too. And if you're triggered by that, I'm not apologizing.
Living your truth, King. All right, what do you do to deal with streamer burnout, in talking about more on the mental toll that comes with this? I love to stream. That's why I'll do impromptu 12-hour streams. The mental health aspect portion of me has always been the balancing of it, because I love to do it too much. I would say you would just have to kind of take an inventory of what is in your life, what's being neglected, and then kind of see where are the areas in your life that you can probably pay more attention to better take care of yourself in that aspect. That's all I'm going to say. I'll leave it to you both on that.
Yeah, I've only been streaming I'm coming up on my 3rd month, and I think that already in those 3 months I have I've streamed on days when I shouldn't have, because I didn't listen to my body and I didn't listen to my mind. And there are things that were going on that I was like, man, I really should. And there, I can count on one hand the amount of streams that I've canceled, and I have like said like, hey, like I need to take a break because this has been a rough week and blah blah blah, whatever that may be. But I think when it comes to burnout, just in any other thing, is recognizing the importance of balance. I'm a big fan of the like, there's a nutritionist, a couple of nutritionists that stand by not removing but adding. So like, you don't necessarily need to remove things from your routine per se, but maybe you need to add more that add balance. So like in the nutrition world, that's like, you don't need to restrict more, you need to add more nutrient rich things that are going to add value and make you enjoy it more. So with like streaming and with life, like maybe it's experimenting with stream, maybe it's changing the format, maybe it's, bringing things that you love into the stream more frequently. Maybe it's spending more time rather than, for me, a big thing was spending less time going through my previous footage and like content farming and things like that. I slowed down on that and I started to just like, okay, if I'm not streaming, I'm not going to be working on things on stream, because we all as streamers are also content creators. And so in the very beginning, I was pumping out content. I was like getting like clip after clip after clip. I was squeezing those VODs for all that they were worth. And now I'm like, man, it's been a while. I'm letting like half of these VODs go. I'm not getting the clips that I want, but I'm more present in my life once I'm off stream. And the biggest thing, I don't even remember who this was, but I saw somebody say, if you're a streamer, as soon as you turn that stream button off, even if you plan on still playing or editing or doing something, get up and walk away from your computer immediately. Get up and walk away, stretch, go touch grass, go drink some water, go see your significant other, go do something at least immediately once the camera goes off, because you've just been sitting there for how many hours and you want to get into your content, you want to get into editing, you want to do all that stuff, but like, no, force yourself to take a break. Make it part of your routine. Build it into habit that as soon as you are done streaming, you're going to get up, you're going to move, and then you can come back. But take at least like a 15-minute break to give yourself the balance.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to prevent burnout, check in on yourself. I'm very lucky. My wife checks in on me, and she's that external, because sometimes when we're stressed and when we're doing things and we feel like we've got to get every single thing done, we lose sight because we're caught up in the moment. And so sometimes, it's just having the humility and the maturity of taking an outside perspective. And listening to yourself. So like, I think for all of us, we all promote wellness and taking care of ourselves. And it sucks. And I feel bad the couple of times that I've canceled a stream because I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I have a migraine, I'm in physical pain because of my medical issues. Like, it feels bad. But I also think if someone came into my stream and, shared with me how they were feeling, what would I tell them? And I feel like, as a content creator and as a person that can have an influence on other people with my voice, I need to be a good role model, or as good of a role model as I can be, and I need to take my own advice. So it's kind of, it's always, man, I don't know what to do with this situation. If a loved one came to you with this issue, what would you tell them? And, if they're like, I'm tired, I'm burning out, I'm burning the candle at both ends, I don't know if I can keep this up. Okay, well, burnout is a real thing. So if you don't listen to yourself when the warning signs are there and you do hit burnout, the recovery time is going to take a whole lot longer and it's going to be a whole lot more uncomfortable. So it's just being gentle with yourself and being realistic in what you can do and not trying to conquer the world in one day.
Yeah, that's really good. Model it.
Yeah. The two biggest pieces of advice I've ever gotten from one of my greatest mentors were, always make sure that you have a really good pair of shoes and a really good bed, because you cannot give to others if you're not comfortable on your feet and you didn't get a good night's sleep. And I always take that into account. Even though you guys say I get 4 hours of sleep, I take a lot of naps. Don't clock me. So yes, the vessel, we've heard it. You can't pour from an empty vessel. You have to invest in yourself. All right. Ooh, let's go here. I'm doing a time check for you guys. Are you guys okay for a little bit more?
This guy was streaming, yeah. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, cool. Because I know dinner's coming up soon. My stomach's rumbling. I'm gonna eat on stream because I'm on here 24 hours. Um, all right, let's see.
I need to step away for a second, so I will be
Sure.
Do your
back
thing.
momentarily.
Do your thing. We have comments. Freya, comments on the narrative that WoW is becoming too woke, but arguing even that the Horror versus Alliance has lessened. Does WoW need to be all accepting, or is the difference part of the narrative even the negative storylines? What's happening right now? Oh my God! I'm just what's up, Saturns? We're doing a segment, mental health, World of Warcraft psychology, and we're taking Q&A right now.
Yeah.
Do you want to start, Sperry? Do you want me
No,
to?
go ahead. Go ahead.
All right. I think, unfortunately, with the climate of what's happening right now politically in our country, especially the United States of America, we have a lot of opposition in terms of progression versus conservatism, and it is hitting a lot of our institutions that we've had for hundreds of years, right? Harvard, Columbia.
Yeah.
You hear this big battlefield of the philosophies and the theologies of these two different things. So you're gonna see a lot more. I always say the louder voices are heard, right? So you see these oppositions of what something is too woke, right? Which is funny because being woke was something that was taken from the BIPOC, Black, Indigenous, people of color vernacular. We used to say woke as in, oh, you actually know what's up. You know what the real, genuine information is on something. And they took that and they kind of like spewed it into something else.
Yep.
At least in my opinion, but it's true. I was saying woke back in 1998. And that was something that they adopted, as in language all changes, but they're using it to now label it as a term of progression in game. So I think the narrative of WoW isn't per se woke. It's more so they're now being more mindful of the different sorts of people that are out there. I'll be real with you. The biggest catalyst of this was the whole situation with all of the sexual harassment charges that Blizzard had with the higher ups, and how anti woke they were actually. So I think that was the catalyst that set them to start hiring more people and to have these broader narratives that included more people. Is it going to hurt the game? Absolutely not. I don't think so. I always say it. You're here for yourself. You are your true, genuine self. You're going to attract the people that are coming along. If people don't enjoy the game, they're going to move on. Whether whether WoW writes a disabled ageism person narrative or whatever the case may be, they're going to move on whether or not that happens. So I think, in my opinion, I always say from my perspective and experiences, I think it's a positive thing, and I think it should keep on going. But at the same time, still be true to the fantasy of the have respect for the lore, right? But they don't have, well, in my opinion, they don't have respect for the lore sometimes themselves. I mean, look at Shadowlands. Just my opinion. Don't hate the messenger. Don't hate the messenger. Shadowlands destroyed the lore. But that's long story short. Yes, I think that it should continue to become woke, even though, in my opinion, it's not woke. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Sperry.
Yeah, to be honest, I'm again chiming in as the person who pays zero attention to the narrative, zero attention to the lore. I am the most problematic type of WoW player. I am a button pusher, and worse, I'm a mid button pusher at best. But I think that ultimately, like, people are using the video game world to escape some of the social polarization that we're experiencing now. And so I think that as soon as it gets to a point where there is, I mean, people are always going to disagree on things. Like, that's just human nature. Like, people are going to find a side and sit on there. And there are some fence sitters too. But I think that in terms of like the way that things are going to change in game, again, this is the wave over that line of perfection. It's the constant course correction. So I think it may go in one direction, and if it looks scary or if it looks intense or if it looks like it's going to extremes of some sort, then I think the developers will pivot as they do, because they don't want to lose a bunch of people who are subscribing to their game. So I don't know what any of the impact of the narrative has been, because aside from like just general conversations about the faction divide, and how some people are like, it should be more Horde versus Alliance and we shouldn't be able to like cross queue and all that stuff, aside from like those conversations, I really don't know what's happening in the world, you know, like in the World of Warcraft. So that is I know what's happening in my world, but not in Azeroth all the time. So yeah, I think that's all I really have to offer to that question.
Great.
I
Thank you.
am back. Sorry, I'm good.
No worries.
Did you want me to chime in, or did you want to go to the next question?
If you don't want to pay,
Yeah,
if you don't pay attention to the lore, you're truly better off. Hey,
What do you have on it?
Well,
That's
can you
good.
repeat it, because I want to make sure I
Yeah.
answer the intent.
So it was comment. Do you have any comments on how most people? I'm not gonna say most people. How some people think the narrative of WoW is becoming too woke, quote unquote, but arguing even that the Horde versus Alliance has a less and diminished role in the game. Does WoW need to be all accepting, or is the differences part of the narrative? You accept all parts of the narrative, even the negative storylines or the bad writing, things of that nature.
I don't have a problem with woke. I think the game itself is a representation. It is a digital world, and people get into it because of similarities, or because maybe problems in real life they can't face, or they don't have an answer for in the real world. I don't have a problem with the wokeness that's in WoW, real or perceived, because it adds a depth of complexity to the game. And yeah, it used to just be good versus evil, but there's so much more when you get into it. You know, Alliance is good and Horde is bad and this and that. And like, I wouldn't be opposed to more wokeness, as long as it gravitates towards, and it still centers around the whole concept of the game. And, you know, it pushes the narrative in a way that develops the game and maintains the fantasy and the true crux of what makes the game what it is. I like that it is not as clear cut as good versus evil. And, you know, when people play the Horde or the Alliance, there's reasons for it, and both sides have made mistakes. And I would love to see more inclusion and diversity. And I would like to see those things, because again, like earlier when we were talking about the characters, people will see themselves in their avatar or in characters. And I think that representation is important, because even though it is a game, it does have an impact in social structures.
Thank you. Sorry, that was TikTok saying you've been inactive for a long time, so they gave me a little thing there. All right, cool. Do we think that WoW is new gamer friendly, or do you think work needs to be done to get the game easier for new players to come in? I'll let you guys start with that.
I think that WoW is as new gamer friendly as it has ever been, retail WoW. And that's speaking as somebody who came back to the game in the 4th season of Dragonflight, and my husband just started playing the game like 2 months ago. I think that there are people who are now deputized to help new players. They're streamlined into a tutorial. There are so many things that outside of the character creation, when I don't play a lot of other games. So like, I'm thinking about all of the other games that I've played recently, and they line up. You know, I think that in Classic, that was not new player friendly. I think you had to figure out a lot on your own, and I think it's easier to, I think the end game stuff in WoW is not new player friendly, but I think in terms of like learning the cozy aspect of World of Warcraft, I think that is. So I guess that has to be in 2 sections. So end game content, no, not new player friendly. early cozy gathering questing content, I think yes, it is new player friendly. Community
Yeah,
wise.
I can agree with that. I think it is, and I think the hard part about it is Blizzard, you know, it's still a company and they want to keep the game going, and that
Yeah.
means that they have to maintain the current player base that they've had
Mm-hmm.
for, you know, forever or maybe for a couple of years, while also creating the game in a way, you know, it's a tricky balance. How do you
Yeah.
create a game that is enticing to veterans and keeps them engaged, but is also inclusive and brings new folks into the game?
Yeah.
So you know, taking that into consideration, I agree 100% with what Sperry said.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to what I was talking about expectations earlier. If I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing like a +4, +5, +6 key,
Mm-hmm.
my expectations of meeting those players at that level
Yeah.
is going to be a lot more lenient than if I'm doing like a +14, 15,
Mm-hmm.
16, where it's like, you have to know your shit.
Yeah.
At this
Yeah.
level, you have to know your shit,
Yeah.
right? So I have two different
Starter questing and level is way new player
perspectives
friendly
of
than it
that.
was.
Um,
Yeah,
and
100%. I
that's
agree.
how I operate going
For sure,
into,
Wicked's
if I
Naked.
go into a normal raid or heroic raid, there's going to be people learning and doing things, and that's great. But if I'm doing mythic progression with my
Yeah.
guild that I know that we laid the expectations of be on your shit, then yes,
Yep.
it's not player friendly at all, because
Mm-hmm.
you have to actually do your research. And
Yep.
WoW is a great game to fall into the rabbit hole of researching
Mm-hmm.
characters and specs and builds and what's the best hero talents and what's the best
Yeah.
consumables to use and what's the best videos to show you and
Mm-hmm.
what's the best strategy to take down the bosses. So in that aspect of the game, hell no, it's not player
Mm-hmm.
friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And just like you both said,
Mm-hmm.
but the other aspect is, I just want to get on and I just want to pet battle and I just want to
Mm-hmm.
collect cute little pieces of gear and I just want to
Yeah.
have a house in player housing, then yeah, we're looking at
Yep.
Stardew Valley but better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's my take on that. Um,
Yeah, for sure. WoW has something for every player.
and that's the thing. I think they're starting to see that, like Cal keeps on reiterating, we need that
Mhm.
new blood coming in,
Yeah.
but at the same time, they need to maintain that population that has sustained them for so long, and they know
Mm-hmm.
what they're doing. Um, I hope that answered the question. It's like, it guess it's based off the content of the content, your context of the content
Mm-hmm.
that you're talking about. Um, all right, so folks, it seems like there's not really much any more questions in stream. I want to give you guys the rest of your afternoon off. Thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you. Is there any last closing remarks or conclusions that you wanted to let people know? Or you could plug your socials. You can do whatever you want. It's
No, I just want to say thank you and congratulations on a year of streaming, Caleb. I am so happy for you. I'm so glad that I met you and Cal. This has just been an awesome conversation. I would love to do more of this. I can yap about this stuff all day, as you well know, and I know you both could as well. So yeah, just thank you so much for thinking about this and organizing it. I think it's been awesome, and I hope you have a great rest of your 24-hour stream. I will for sure be hanging out with you. So yeah, but it was a pleasure to talk to you both for sure.
Absolutely agree. Thank you so much for inviting me, Caleb. And y'all, whether you are watching Sperry or Caleb or myself, please make sure you're dropping a follow for Caleb and Sperry. They are wonderful people, very knowledgeable. If you want to drop a follow for me too, like, I appreciate it. I just feel horrible self-promoting. I don't know about you two. I am
Never.
going to stay on for a couple of minutes on my side if anybody wants to come over and ask me any more direct questions about anything I said. But beyond that, folks, like, use the game as it's intended and enjoy it and make the connections, and
I get new players. We sit down
just remember everything's going to be okay. Like, that's, I know it sounds really cheesy, but the game is what it is, and it's multiplayer for a reason, and it can create great connections and it can allow for self-expression. And just like life, not every day is going to be a banger, not every expansion is going to be a banger, but if you love the core of the game for what it is, then like that should override any of the, you know, the low points like Shadowlands. So, you know, express yourself, enjoy, have fun, connect, and just make sure that it's not taking over your life, or make sure anything you're doing is continue to add joy to your life rather than depriving it. So thank you very much for having me, and I'll be on my own stream for a couple more minutes if anybody wants to stop by.
Beautiful. You two beautiful humans, thank you so much for your insight, your perspective, and yeah, we'll see you in game and on social media. Much love, okay? Thank you so much.
Thank
I appreciate you.
you.
All right.
Good luck on your stream, my dude.
All right. Take care. All right.
Okay, let's see. Stream together has ended. So, how many people are hanging out over here? I'm good to keep on streaming. However, I just yeah. I'm going to take a quick potty break and go from there. Also, I don't know if TikTok is up because my dock did not want to work. Let's see. Potty time. Yeah, exactly. I don't know why TikTok isn't working. Hang on. Let me log out of Stream Elements and try again. Because sometimes it just gets funny with that. I don't know. It's a bit silly. Let's figure it out. TikTok isn't working? Yeah, I wasn't sure. But yeah, that was. Oh my gosh, I love it. I may keep on just doing like a chill, like chatting. I don't know. I kind of want to just like yap with everybody. That's one of my favorites. I love it. Let me see. Let me do this TikTok thing really quick, and then I'll reset my Tickfinity. But I don't know why this is happening. It was doing that yesterday and bugging out for Morgan. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Like, TikTok is not liking this. Okay, let's see. Do this. Okay, let's see. World of Warcraft. Because I can just yap with everybody, but just do a small screen. Brr. Oh, I had my professional yapper sweatshirt just in case. But I figured I would get super sweaty, so. I love to do just chatting, and I haven't done one yet, like officially, so I don't know. I think what I'll do is take a quick potty break, and then we're gonna reset this really quick. Mayhaps start, connect. Beautiful. Yeah, stretch those legs. I'm going to stretch my legs. I'm going to take a quick potty break, and I will be right back. So hang out, enjoy the vibes.